Really fun.
So as always, kind of take us behind the green curtain and let us know how you landed here, like the what, when, how, and why, kind of 10,000 foot level. And then you and I will take it wherever it goes.
Yeah, my parents were very entrepreneurial when I was growing up, particularly my dad, retired Marine, and just had he was an outdoors guy and just kind of a bigger life thing guy, and he loved business. So I worked at family businesses while I was going to college, and I really didn't have any skill sets when you're 18, 19 years old. So what can I do? Well, hand out flyers. This is back in the 80s
Yeah.
when marketing was the yellow pages and flyers. So I took an advertising class in junior college in Orange County, California, Orange Coast College. And we had a travel business in Irvine, California. So we were in these big industrial parks. So I was taking what I was learning. I was creating flyers. This is when, I was going to just flyers at the print shop,
Hardcore.
hardcore, designing with rub-on letters. you know,
Love it.
I'm dating myself, but that's
It's all
how it
right. I
started.
love when someone else dates themselves, not just me.
Yeah, yeah. Nothing like somebody else's marketing to date you, right? So I'm handing out flyers to these industrial parks, and I'm just hustling hundreds a day because I'm full of vim and vinegar. I'm 19 years old. I got, okay, I'm part of a business, family business. And that year, we generated over $1 million in sales
Wow.
just from me hustling and hitting every single industrial
In the
park that I could
80s,
ever
that's a
find.
big number.
In the 80s, that was a big number.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow, this is really something. And I kept, I was a bit of an autodidact. I didn't have the real inclination to go to 4-year college. So I stayed in junior college, took a lot of classes on photography and marketing, and started reading books by David Ogilvy, Trout and Reese, all the
Yeah.
classics. And I was like, I really like this marketing and advertising. So I stayed with that for a few years with the family business. And then I went to work for an advertising agency where I really got,
I bet.
involved in that world. And that's when I really knew that this was where I belonged.
I love it. So, advertising in general, marketing in general, that's why I'm glad you went here, is broad, right? So, what do you have a kind of a specialty either in advertising and marketing, and or do you have a specialty for marketing and advertising in a niche, like maybe both? I don't know.
Yeah, I tend to find there's a lot of people within the real estate, medical, and investment circles that tend, just for whatever reason, my content resonates with them.
Yeah.
Back in the 2005, 2006, when YouTube, Twitter, Facebook were really becoming, known for
Yeah.
the first time, and we were kind of suspect of it, I knew it was the future. And I also knew that if I didn't jump on it fast, that I would become a dinosaur in
Mm.
the marketing world.
Yeah. So fast. It's crazy.
It was so fast. So I had a good friend named Bill McIntosh who was making tons of money online marketing. And I said, Bill, I know this is the future. Will you teach me? So he took me under his wing and I worked for him for 3 years. And that's really kind of, that's when I was just building websites, SEO and email lists. And again, just doing the hard work day in, day out, working with a lot of companies, seeing what their problems were. And the number one thing that I find, and I think this is my specialty, is it's moving so fast. Audiences are moving fast, technology is moving fast. They're both these
Yeah.
incredibly fast moving objects, and people get overwhelmed. And I'm able to decipher what is the best strategy and path for them that they will execute. That's the key thing.
Yeah.
It's not just a matter of the right tools. What are the right tools that you will use to gain an advantage? So
That's
I'm
neat.
kind of able to see, what's within their willingness, their skill sets, and then develop a program that will get them to move forward.
So I know you've coached a bunch of business owners. So I guess that leads to that kind of that path here. Do you work with individuals like, for example, if there's a wicked smart listener now going, huh, okay, well, so could I get in touch with Edwin and he would do that with me? He would analyze. Do you do that one-on-one? Do you do groups? Do you have programs? Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I do both. I've done a lot of group coaching. I've worked with teams as a fractional or a virtual CMO, chief marketing officer, where they're not quite ready to hire a full-time CMO at 150 grand a year, 180
Yeah.
grand a year. And for 10 cents, 20 cents on the dollar, they can bring me and I start to train their team on whatever it is, how to use social media, how to reach out on LinkedIn, how do we build a database, what kind of content do we share,
Yep.
what is the best content. And then I also work with individuals that, hey, I'm just building a brand as an investment advisor. What would be the best way for my brand to be seen and appreciated that would begin to fill my funnel?
Okay, cool. So I don't want to forget. So I'm going to ask so early in the show, can you tell these guys the best way to reach you? And then I
Mhm.
want to talk about Refrology a little bit, like any sites or any phone, anything you want to share.
Yeah. You can reach me at Edwin Dearborn at me.com. You can find me on LinkedIn. If you just type in Edwin Dearborn, I think I'm the only Edwin Dearborn out there.
That's good.
So, so that's probably the best way is just go to the search bar in LinkedIn, type in my name, and you'll find me. And then all my links and all my contact data is right there.
Sweet. That's good marketing, by the way. So did you change your name to get the only Edwin Dearborn? No, I couldn't.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about Refrology a little bit. I was playing around on the internet myself. I love kind of digging in the guests, and I saw that. And of course, the name alone stuck out. So and I think it's one of your newest pieces, right?
Yeah. When the shutdown occurred in March of 2020, and we all thought the world was going to die and it was going to be a zombie apocalypse,
Yeah.
and we were sitting inside. For whatever reason, that lockdown forced me. It was an opportunity for me to do a lot of learning and a lot of study. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to learn and try to solve the world's problems by just becoming smarter. And I went down this rabbit hole of referrals. I'm like, it's kind of like this thing that we all love. And people say, you need to have a referral program in place, but no one's got a referral program in place. And what does that really mean, a referral program?
Yeah.
So I read a bunch of books by some really smart and intelligent people, hundreds and hundreds of pages. And while I was reading their books, I was going to YouTube because I'm at home, stuck inside, and I'm watching their videos and podcasts. So I would read a 300-page book, but I would also watch 20 or 30 hours of them talking about their book, where they would go into deeper stories. And I realized that referrals is a blind spot for most business people. And what I mean by blind spot is it's an area that's, if you look up the definition, it's an area that we don't appreciate or we've got preconceived ideas about.
Right. Right on.
And so we go, oh, yeah, referrals. Yeah, I love referrals. Okay, well, tell me how you get them. Blind spot.
Yeah.
So my book is about how do we pull down that veil of that blind spot to get you to look and go, wow, this is a massive opportunity that I have no proactive steps in place. And the moment we become proactive, the statistics show that literally the moment you start getting intelligent about it and proactive about it, you'll double your referrals.
Yeah.
So that's what the book's about is how do we become proactive? What do we do? What do we say? And not look like we're begging
I love it.
or handing out a bunch of cash to get a referral because that just makes you look desperate.
Yeah, and I don't want to sound cliche or foo-foo, but the bottom line is you just kind of indirectly said it. If they would focus on this through your work, it would throw some energy at it. And if you throw energy at it, it improves. It's really, it's not, this is not brain science, but they just don't do it.
Right. You just nailed it. That's very wicked smart of you. Um, name drop.
Yeah.
Uh, it is wicked smart. I'll tell you why. Because you're right. There's something about the universe that when you put your attention and intention into something, all of a sudden you start to see missed opportunities. You start to see pathways to greater success. That's why I called it the businessman's favorite blind spot, because the minute I remove that veil, that curtain of Oz,
Yeah.
they're like, wow, there's all these things we could do. I've been taking it for granted. And I'll give you one example in the real estate world. I have some real estate clients that do commercial and home real estate, in Hollywood, California. They're very successful, but they have zero systems. It's all just dynamic
Right. And
people
throw
doing
energy at
dynamic,
it. Yeah.
throwing energy at it. They're just being, you know, upbeat people. And I said, if we could take your energy and put systems to support your energy, they're like, oh my God, if we had systems. So I said, okay, what's the number one way that you generate business right now? Like you're doing well. What's the secret? And they go, relationships, relationships. I said, how many relationships? They're like, we have no idea. I go, you don't even have a database of the top 100 or 200 relationships? They're like, actually, no, we just kind of get on the phone and we just randomly call people. Well, we identified 200 people that could not only be future business for them, but would be top referral sources. And then we reverse engineered how would we surround those 200 people with content, events, public relations, gifts, events, webinars, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And when I laid out that diagram of what we would do with those 200 people, it was like, oh, like they go, there's tens of millions of dollars if
Yeah, I
we
bet.
do this. So I believe that anybody can do that. And that's what referralology talks about is let's really get down to your dream 100, whether it's 100 or 200 people, and let's figure out how to engage them with exceptional experiences, with over the top content, so that when the next deal comes, you're the obvious choice to do business with.
I love it. So for the Wicked Smart listeners, I want you to picture this. You couple what Edwin just went over with you with Refrology, and we'll tell you how to get that in a minute. You couple that with what we teach to be the authority in your marketplace, and you do nothing else, of course, base level knowledge. But once you're
Right.
in the business, you're through our academy, the QLS Academy, you do those two things and you're gonna crush it in your marketplace, ATM machine. How can they get this Refrology, Edwin? I want to make sure we say that.
Okay, so they can go to Kindle, pay $1.99. I make 70 cents on it. So I did it. So I did it the cheapest price possible so that they could get it. Or they can go to my website, brandedshareables.com. And then you'll see referrology. They can download it for free.
Nice.
You can, if you just, I mean, obviously you're going to have to give me your email, but that's part of my marketing funnel. Um,
Oh
so
man, if they can get it for free, who cares? They have to give you a phone number, right? I don't. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't even ask for a phone number. Literally, just give me your name and email. I'll put you in my database. I'll drip on you. If you see, we can do business together. Great. If not, enjoy the book. Go off and make millions.
Yeah, right.
That would be a great success story.
So brandedshareables.com for the referrology.
Yep.
If for nothing else, and I'll say this, there's people in this listening database right now, the Wicked Smart listeners that are investors, are wannabe investors. They might run a nonprofit. So literally, this is a piece. This ebook is a piece that every single one of you can and should get. Like you literally should get flooded. And if you don't, I'm a little bit perplexed because nobody listening that can't benefit from referrology, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's free. What do you got to lose, right? I mean, you can always, and then if you get my emails, you can always opt out. So there's nothing, and that's part of my philosophy in referrology. Create great things and give them to people. And if you love that book, then you share it. And am I not becoming more referable?
100%.
Any investor could do the same thing. And that's what I teach is we got to give you something that makes you talkable,
Yeah.
referable, memorable. And if we can do that, then all of a sudden you now have a competitive advantage. And I'll say this one last thing to the wicked smart crowd here. If I put 100 realtors or 100 investors or 100 dentists in a room, and I say, raise your hand if you've got a proactive, aggressive, creative, upbeat referral program that you deploy every day. Maybe one. So if you do this, this is your competitive advantage.
Yeah.
Because the other people in the room are standing still, not leveraging their database, not creating incredible relationships proactively. And when you do that, I'm telling you, it's like karma. You put out good in the universe will reward you.
I love it. So go to brandedshareables.com, everyone. And I guess this leads me to a little bit different question, but not really, because it's in the authority space. How can the listeners use, as I was looking through your notes, either social media or this concept or whatever to become more of an authority? Or not everybody wants to speak, but maybe to be able to get in front of some more people? Or do you think we already nailed that? Is there another kind of avenue?
I'd like to clarify one point, and thank you for that. That's a great question. The word authority comes from the word author. If you author content and you author information, whether that be a podcast, you take the broad definition of author, the creator of something. If you look at the derivation in Greek, it's someone who creates something. If you author incredible content, whether it be, like I said, a podcast, a YouTube series, an ebook, an infographic, a how-to course, and you distribute that, intuitively, we look to authors as authorities. It's one of the most respected titles in the world, author. It's more respected than doctor in some circles. So become the author of something and distribute that content. And when you position yourself and market yourself as the author of blah, 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 you will build authority in the eyes of others.
I love it. I love it. I talk about authority all the time, and nobody ever said it that simply and succinct and clear. It's very simple and effective. Okay, so what do you think? I've got just a few more questions for you. What do you think is the biggest challenge, Edwin, when you talk to your clients? People call you like from my database, and they go, "Hey, I need some help. Your book's awesome." What do you see as the biggest challenge? Like I always ask this question in the podcast: if you fill in this sentence, if they would only do blank within this realm of refrology, and you just want to strangle them when they don't do it, like I feel that way about students. Just do this. Will you just do this? And it will work. What is that blank?
It's called inertia. It's just, they've been a body at rest in bad habits and bad routines for so long that it's getting them just to move and take small action. So what I try to do is cut down the gradient and give them very small wins in the beginning. If I can have a little small win, then I can get a little bit bigger and I grow the wins. It's like my son. I want to be a black belt, but he's a white belt right now.
Yeah.
I said, son, don't worry about black belt. Get your yellow belt. That's an achievement. He's like, okay, I'll get my yellow belt.
Actually, to that point, white's even harder, right? Because it's getting the ball off the ground.
Yeah, just showing up to the dojo and putting on the gi and putting the, and like you showed up. I mean, that's a win.
Yeah.
You're actually starting karate. So, and it's just like, Mr. Miyagi, wax on, wax off.
Yeah.
It's can I get you to just do that?
Yeah.
So the small wins are important.
I love it. So getting them moving forward, as you said, inertia. I love it.
Yeah.
Edwin, every time I'm on a show, whether I'm, on my own show or other shows, there's always that I get off thinking, I wish they just said this or asked me this, or I wish I filled in the blank better with that. Is there anything I didn't ask you? A nugget you want to drop? Anything at all you want to share before we wrap up?
The only thing is that I would say is you have to ask yourself why. If you want to grow and become wealthy, you got to find your why. There's got to be something that wakes you up in the morning that inspires you to go through all the crap and the inertia. And for me, it's my kids. Like I'm leaving a legacy for my children. And I wake up every morning and I've got photos of my kids because I love my kids so much all over the house. And that's to remind me why I'm here and why I'm to leave that legacy. For you, it may be wealth. It may be, becoming a famous star. I don't know what it is, but find your why and use that energy to propel yourself past the inertia.
I love it. I was down in the studio literally 10 minutes ago, and I had on the show, same as you, I had a couple that is in our community. And I said, what is the biggest thing? Like, why? They're also our coaches now. I said, what is the biggest thing? And we talked about what I was asking in more detail, but they said the same as you. It's the why.
Yeah.
It's the fun, and that's what kept them going to have the success they had. So thank you for sharing that. Edwin, super cool to have you. I want to hang out after the show a little bit and talk about how you can help more of the Wicked Smart community, kind of private community. But for the Wicked Smart listeners, the broader community, again, go to, man, I flipped the page. Shareables.com.
Shareables.com. Yeah. And if you can't remember that, just type in Edwin Dearborn, Dearborn. Just type in my name and you will find me. And I've got all my links, my phone number, my email, etc. And you can always direct message me in LinkedIn. And that's probably the easiest way.
There's the catch-all. Thanks for being on, my friend. I look forward to chatting further.
Thank you, sir.